My dear Form 5 students, today I will discuss one hot question on function and inverse function. Okay, this is very popular question in paper 1. So let's go through together. Okay, let's read the question together. Diagram 4 shows part of the graph y equal to fx. Fx means function. The function is given in terms of unknown. So you just imagine that y is a straight line, example 2x plus 1, something like that. And the n is the y-intercept, and the m is the x-intercept. And you also given another two values of m and n that you may use after this to sketch a graph. So we study the axes x and y. So it looks like the straight line is given y equal to fx. It's in pink color. So now the question is asking you to find the inverse function with the object 0. So there is an inverse there, -1. And then you have to sketch a graph for the inverse function on the axis given below. So this is actually hot because it actually tests you reverse way of thinking. Okay, so it's based on diagram. So again, the hot question, they will give you diagram. Based on diagram, they will ask you to think and how to solve the question. So let's see the answer space given with the y and the x. And the y for b, it should be the inverse function. So the first step is, first of all, you must know that y equal to fx. And it's referring to the straight line given, y equal to fx. So now we write down the order pairs for the object and image. So we have one pair which is x is 0, y is n, x is object, y is image. So we list out like this in an arrow diagram. So your object is 0, your image is y value, which is n. Okay, then another pair is m is the object and the image is y, which is 0. So we use an arrow diagram to help us to understand. Okay, so let's say this is arrow diagram lah, example lah. Okay, this is one example whereby object is 0, m, and the images are n and 0. These are actually, we convert the graph function into arrow diagrams so that we can have a clearer picture to understand. Now, if inverse function, we will bring back the image to the object. So image is always y, object is always x. So if the function bring back the y to x, we call that function is inverse function. Okay, so it's actually reverse way. Okay, just now is x to y, now is bring back y to x. So we want to find that particular function that bring back the y to x. And the y now is the object for the inverse function, and the x is the image for the inverse function. So make sure you are clear about the concept of the inverse function, right? Okay, so now we draw out the inverse function in red color. So our object is n mapped to 0. Another object will be 0 mapped to image m. So that is the one in red color, which is the inverse function. Okay, so we have the order pairs for inverse function will be 0, n, and which is n0 and 0m. Okay, object is n for inverse function, image is 0, and object is 0, image is m for inverse function. Okay, don't confuse. Okay, now for question A is quite easy. You're asking to find the image when object is 0 for the inverse function. So for inverse function, you bring back 0 to m. So the answer should be m lah. Okay, that is inverse function, right? is opposite with the function. Function will bring m to 0, inverse function will bring back 0 to m. Clear? Okay, so that is 1 mark lah, easy. So inverse function will bring the object 0 back to m. Okay, now we need to sketch the inverse function. So we got 2 points for that function already, which is 0m and n0. So you just plot the 2 points and just sketch a straight line. Then you'll get the inverse function. Okay, so that is how you find the inverse function for the function given. So the red line given represent the inverse function. Alright, and if possible, you sketch the straight line using a ruler. Plot the point 0m and n0. Right? So if possible, you try to use a diagram to help you to understand the concept so that you won't confuse. Okay, so we want to sketch the inverse function. Okay, but when we sketch an inverse function, we are referring to y also. That y is actually the inverse function. So you just draw a straight line, passes through 0m and n0. Okay, then the y is inverse function. Okay, you can write y equal to f negative 1x. Alright, so for inverse function, with the object 0, image is m. Okay, that is the answer for A. And the sketching, okay, the part B, that is the answer given. So you draw a straight line, use your ruler. The 2 points must passes through intercept y at m and x-intercept at n. Okay, so please make sure you got the right answer, which is m for A, and for B you need to sketch a straight line on the diagram given. Alright, so this question is quite important nowadays because it tests you the real concept of the inverse function using the graph. Alright, okay, if you can understand, that's good. Okay, that's all for today. Bye. Have a nice day.
One.